Peak Wealth Management proudly presents Finding True Wealth with certified financial planner Nick Hopwood and accredited investment fiduciary Jim Pilat. Nick and Jim believe by making simple, good financial decisions, you can retire with confidence. And now, let's turn it over to your hosts, Nick and Jim.
Welcome everyone to episode 75. Is this Finding True Wealth, or is this Retire with Confidence?
It's the Retire with
Nick and
Confidence
Jim
podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
First
so.
one?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Cool. Okay, so today we are talking about the Secure Act, otherwise known as the Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement.
Yeah. I'm surprised you had to read that. That doesn't roll off the tip of your tongue?
No. And I have some concerns about what it's enhancing as well.
Right.
So what jumped out at you, Jim, on the Secure Act?
One of the biggest things that jumped off the page right away for me was the RMD age got pushed back. It was always 70 and a half. People knew they had to take their required minimum distributions out of their IRAs, and they pushed that back to 72. So
yeah,
it's good for a couple of reasons.
The 70 and a half I always felt shortchanged because my birthday is June 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
If I would have just been July 1st, it could have pushed me into another
you
year.
could have had a whole other year, yeah. You really did get robbed.
But with the Secure Act now, I'm liberated, right, by 2 more years,
right,
where I can delay my required minimum distribution.
Right. So that can be advantageous for some. Some people need the RMDs to live on, but a lot of times we talk to people who've built up enough of a nest egg and have other things going where they really don't want the RMDs, but they have to take them.
Yeah.
So this allows them to push that date back a little bit more. And
yep, and we'll come back to that point as well.
Yeah.
But the huge disappointment was, for me, besides, well, we'll come back to other disappointments, but the fun disappointment, right, making a joke out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We got rid of the 70 and a half, but they kept the 59 and a half.
Yeah.
And why couldn't they fix that too? Right, I'd be willing to go to 60.
Yeah.
But maybe 59, 59.
Right, just one way or the other.
But now we still have this and a half. I wish it were gone because I have a hard time with it.
Right, yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah. Okay, so you talked about the required minimum distribution age.
Yeah, and the other thing that is kind of unique about that, for some people we talk a lot about a Roth conversion window, where it makes a lot of sense to convert some of that pre-tax money, the IRA money, into Roth IRA money so that we can make it tax-free forever. So if one of the opportunities there is that gives us a couple extra year and a half to extend that
2
window.
years technically.
Yeah,
I love it. So if you are in a position where you can convert, there's this this kind of sweet spot, like this retirement window, or Roth window, I like to say, or red zone or whatever, where you can, if you have Social Security, maybe a small pension, maybe you're living on your joint brokerage account, where you're not showing the IRS very much income, right? You can convert that big IRA into Roth and pay sometimes little or no tax. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. And before it was kind of stopped at 70 and a half because you had to take money out. Right. But now at 70 and 71, those are still options. Yeah. So I like that a lot. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So it gives you a little more time to take advantage of that window.
So those are both two good things, right? The 70 and a half goes to 72, allows for deferment, allows for Roth conversions. We didn't get the 59 and a half fix, but so that's bad. But what's the other, what's the offsetting part of the good RMD change?
Yeah, probably the biggest change of the whole thing was the way that inherited IRAs are going to now be treated, or beneficiary IRAs. Sometimes people know them. So when an IRA passes from one generation to the next, you used to be able to spread the withdrawals out over whoever is inheriting it, their lifetime. So if you were young, you could spread it out over 20, 30, 40 years or more, right? And we have even cases where it'll pass to the next generation, right? So technically grandkids are now stretching this IRA out. So the Secure Act had written the language in there that now requires that IRA to be completely withdrawn within the 10-year period. So you now only have 10 years to stretch it. That doesn't mean you have to take it all out equally in 10 years, but by the end of that 10-year period, there has to be no more money left in there.
Okay, so when Bush signed a law in 2003, it was 5 years, and he changed it to lifetime stretch. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it used to be 5. Mm-hmm. So 10 is better than it was back in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still much worse than the lifetime. Yeah. So I feel like we got the short end of the stick. So I don't feel like this is an enhancement. Right. I think that this 10-year payout is much worse than gaining 2 years on the RMD.
Yeah, absolutely. Know? Yeah, because I think most people aren't even thinking about the true impact of it, right? And if you inherit, let's again make math simple, if you inherit an IRA worth $1 million and you take $100,000 out each year so that IRA is liquidated at the end of that 10-year period.
It's got to be gone in 10 years.
You have to add that $100,000 to your income. Mm-hmm. So now if you were making $150,000 a year, on top of that, now you have to add that $100,000. So now you're in $250,000. You just got bumped up a tax bracket. So now you're paying higher taxes.
Yeah, every year for 10 years.
Yep.
So someone might say, well, I don't want to take it each year. I just want to take it out in the 10th year. Mm-hmm. Or maybe something else comes up. Maybe some people are just saying, just cash me out. In which case, the $1 million is all in 1 year.
Right.
Okay, and you're going to pay, 37.6 or whatever it is, plus state. So they're going to hammer you.
So you're really only walking away with 600 or
600 out of $1 million. And if you're in California, forget about it. Yeah. Okay. Right. You should probably change residency before you do it.
Yeah, it's a planning tip.
Or let's say I had the $1 million and I'm invested for growth, and maybe with the rule of 72, maybe I earn 7.2% per year. Not unreasonable. No. And so the $1 million's worth $2 million, and I do it in the 10th year.
Yeah.
That's one way.
It's true. So you're still further ahead, but there's definitely some tax issues that people will need to consider if you have recently inherited an IRA.
Yeah, I'd rather, like, if I inherited the money today and let's say it was $1 million with the old rules, I would probably have to take out like $15,000 because I have a long life expectancy. Mm-hmm. My required minimum would be very low.
Right.
$15,000, $20,000. It would still allow that $1 million to be worth way more in the future.
You could grow it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because the RMD, the percentage on it's going to be very low.
Yeah.
And you have a really good chance to make more on it.
So in reality, these people are going to have to take the money out. Here's the deal. With human behavior, right? If you take the money out each year for 10 years, it's probably going to be mixed up in your cash flow somehow. I just can see this where after 10 years, there's nothing left from it.
And you've gotten used to a higher standard of living at the time.
The creep.
The creep. Yeah.
And then, so the creep has crept in.
Right.
And now
the money's
there's nothing to show. And now you have less income and higher expenses. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
So someone who's disciplined, right, they could do it. We could meet with the CPA and figure out the best tax situation, whether it's each year or all at the end, I don't know. But they have to take it from the beneficiary IRA, the inherited IRA, and somehow be disciplined to keep it intact, right? Mm-hmm. So their legacy can live on. Right. So the parents' legacy can continue.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. People will really need to get in a habit of not looking at that as free money, right? But we got to save it somewhere. We got to try to take this as a real opportunity to further and better our situation.
So this is kind of problematic, right? And I think that, like you mentioned earlier, some people, they take the required minimum now because they have to. Mm-hmm. If they didn't have to, they maybe wouldn't do it,
right? Because
they don't need the money.
Right.
If you have, around here you have a lot of these guys who have strong Social Security for two people. Mm-hmm. They have two pensions.
Still some good pensions, yeah.
Yeah, two pensions, right? So you have these 4 income streams, and they could be at like $100,000 before you get out of bed, right? Before you even log into your brokerage account,
right?
And then all of a sudden, you have to take out like $37,000 out of your IRA,
right?
Well, they don't need that $37,000. So now they're looking at their IRA and saying, well, when I die, right? We all have mortality risk, right? When I pass away, my kid's going to have to take this out in those 10 years. I don't like that. And I don't need my required minimum. What if I took my required minimum or part of it and bought life insurance, which then would transfer to the kids tax-free?
Tax-free, yeah.
Right? You can buy a whole life policy that's guaranteed and stuff. It's not my favorite type of life insurance, but everything has its need, and it fits pretty well
benefit,
in something like this. So it's a way to replace some of that tax money we lost to taxes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something else to consider, both you and I, we both love Roth IRAs, so we don't need any more motivation to want to contribute to them, but this is another kind of drop in that bucket of why a Roth IRA could be really advantageous, because it's after-tax money, it's tax-free money, so the RMD wouldn't apply. So
there's no RMDs at all on Roths.
It would be a much more efficient way to transfer that wealth.
That's right. It makes it more appealing. So whether you're contributing to a Roth 401k, Roth IRA, or doing Roth conversions, it adds incentive.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's worth noting that whenever Congress messes with retirement, they've left the Roth alone. Right?
Yeah.
They're changing the RMD rules. They're changing beneficiary IRA. There's nothing like this with Roth. Right? They've never added anything that's worse with the Roth.
Right.
So that's worth noting.
Likely because of the way it's set up, right? You've already paid taxes on the money that goes into it, so they've already received their tax revenue, right?
Yeah,
I think the whole thinking behind what the Secure Act did was unlocking that tax revenue from all that money that's sitting in these qualified accounts.
Yeah. What about college accounts?
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing to come out of the Secure Act was 529s. A lot of times we use 529s for college savings. Something that was added that was kind of unique was that they will allow you to use up to $10,000 of a 529 to pay down college debt, pay off student loans. So I think that was kind of a unique...
It makes sense.
It just makes 529s even more flexible, right?
Yeah.
We hear people a lot of the time say, well, what if my kid doesn't go to college, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, with just in the last few years, 529s, now you can use them for K-12 education, right, up to $10,000 a year. And now, on top of that, the Secure Act has given us another $10,000 that we can use towards student loans.
Yep, that's right. So that's a nice little treat. Anything else that you want to comment or talk about?
Yeah, one other thing that jumped up a little bit was the maximum contribution age on IRAs. Typically, that was once you reach the RMD age, which used to be 70 and a half, people could no longer contribute to an IRA. That has changed. They removed that limitation. So if you're still working, because you do still have to have earned income to contribute to an IRA, but you do have the ability to make those contributions beyond 70, even beyond 72. It's not attached to the new RMD age or anything, so you could keep contributing.
So if you're still working, you'd have to take the money out of the IRA, but then you can put it right back in.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad trick.
Yeah.
Little workaround there.
Right.
Let's see. I think I had something on the tip of my tongue with the IRA. I lost it. Should have wrote it down. So okay. So the bottom line is, right, the Secure Act is live. It was signed on December 20th, so it is the law.
Right.
If you are 70 and a half this year, you're off the hook. You're not required to do it.
Yeah.
You can wait a couple more years. But
if you were 70 and a half in calendar year 2019, you're stuck with the old rules.
Yeah. So if you're born on June 22nd, and turned 70 last year, that's it for you.
Yep. The same applies to the Roth or the 401k or the IRA contributions that I mentioned, how they removed that age limit. If you were beyond 70 and a half in 2019, you cannot make a 2019 contribution in 2020.
Now you're getting into the weeds.
Yeah, a little bit. But if anybody was really hoping to make a contribution, we'd have to examine it a little bit to make sure it's still possible.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you, Jim, for the good points there. If you guys have any questions about the Secure Act, you can call us, and then we'll call the experts.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We are the experts. So, we're here for you. If you have a portfolio over $500,000 and you'd like to have a second opinion done, please allow us to be the people to give you that second opinion. Anything else? Wrapping up here. Retire with confidence.
Retire with confidence.
Yeah. Shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah.
Right? Peak Wealth Management.
Yeah.
Retire with confidence.
You've been listening to certified financial planner Nick Hopwood and accredited investment fiduciary Jim Pilat on the Finding True Wealth podcast, sponsored by Peak Wealth Management. You can learn more about Peak Wealth Management by visiting peakwm.com or follow on Twitter at nhopwood1.